When I first got into fountain pens, one of the brands that first grabbed me, and I know I'm not alone in this, was Visconti. Visconti is an Italian pen brand based in Firenze or Florence, and they make some pretty out there awesome pens. They make pens that are very expensive. They make pens that are still, even their entry level, kind of expensive. One of those is this. This is the Mythos fountain pen. This is the Hades version of it. And it's sort of modeled off the Mirage pen model from a few years ago. It's a very cool pen and I'm going to show it to you today. I really enjoy it. Let's see why. But first, like and subscribe, hit that notifications button, hype this video if you feel so inspired, and please consider becoming a member of this channel, where for a small monthly fee, you'll get early access to my videos and things like priority comments and a couple of other bits and pieces along the way. Let's check out this pen, the Visconti Mythos Hades fountain pen. So here is the packaging, simple white cardboard sleeve, and then a beautiful designed Visconti box. You take the lid off and the pen sat nicely in there. Underneath this beautifully padded bed, we get a little bit of information. It's simple, it does the job, but it's also kind of grand. And that's one of the things I like about Visconti is that you feel like you're opening something special when you get a pen from them. And here is the pen. So this is the Visconti Mythos model, and this is the Hades finish. Now, the Mythos range is very similar in terms of a lot of the details to the Mirage. It's got these same sort of fluted facets, things like that. But a big difference is, the size of the nib. We go from what is basically a number 5 nib to what is basically a number 6 nib, which is awesome. I'll show that more in the size comparison, but it is a similar sort of pen shape. So if you're familiar with the Mirage and you like that, check out Mythos. And this is the Hades edition. Let's talk about the parts and features. So the inspiration for this pen obviously comes from the Underworld itself, with these jet black sort of finishes and the red, and give a sense of the fire and all those kinds of things. And the V on the cap ring there is supposed to emulate things like a stylized Mount Olympus, apparently. So top of the pen, we get the clip sort of through there, and the clip is the typical Visconti clip, spring-loaded, that Ponte Vecchio design, Visconti being from Florence after all. And then the cap sort of swells to the center band. It's got these flutes down the sides of the facets. The gold trim on this, gold-colored trim, is a beautiful sort of matte finish, which ties in beautifully with the matte finish of this material, which feels satiny and smooth in the hand. Big center band, says Mythos, and then that V on it, made in Italy. It's not subtle, but I don't mind it. And then the body tapers with those flutes to a gold-colored end with the V once again. It is a magnetic cap. And it's got these little grooves just in there that line up with grooves so that, it always lines up and looks good. There is quite a substantial step down off the barrel there, and we get onto the, not where the magnetic sort of cap sort of locks in. And then we get a metal section with this engraved sort of figure of the V's around the top there. And then we get the Visconti medium gold-colored steel number 6 nib here, which I read somewhere is made by Schmidt. So it would make sense because I think Schmidt make amazing nibs, but interesting nonetheless. And there is the plastic feed. You unscrew the barrel and there is a Schmidt branded converter there. So it's standard international. There is a metal liner on the inside of the barrel there. So you're on metal threads. So no huge worry about them, falling apart, those kinds of things. A lot of people take issue with magnetic caps, and there have been issues with some of the Visconti ones sort of corroding and falling out and things like that. I haven't had a problem with this, nor have I had a problem with it on my Mirage model here, nor on the any of my Viscontis. So the Michelangelo, the Van Gogh, the Rembrandt, and I think the Breeze as well may have had a magnetic cap. So I've not had a problem with it, but I know people have. The Visconti Mythos does post, and it posts magnetically as well. There's a little bit of wiggle room in that, but it is secure if you decide to post it. I generally tend to find myself writing with this pen unposted simply because like that is quite a substantial step. While I don't feel it, you can sort of feel it moving around. So I just write with it unposted myself. And that's the basics of this beautiful pen. Like that material is the star here. Like the matte gold finish, the beautiful sort of acrylic. It's a stunning pen, and we'll see how it writes in just a minute. For the size comparison today, I have alongside a Lamy Safari and the Visconti Mirage. You can see it's just a touch longer there than the Mirage model, and about the same as the Lamy Safari. Uncapped, it's a little shorter there than the Lamy Safari and just a touch longer than the Mirage. And then posted, it's, once again, it fits between, a little longer than the Mirage, a little shorter than the Safari, but I don't think it posts as well as the Mirage. The Mirage doesn't want to post sort of straight. It posts onto those flutes, but it feels secure, whereas, yeah, the Mythos that here has just that little bit of sort of wiggle room on the magnet or something. It doesn't quite feel as secure, but that's where it fits. Specific dimensions of the Visconti Mythos Hades edition here. It's 139 millimeters when it is capped. It's 125 when it's uncapped, so it's not super long, but I definitely find it quite comfortable. Posted, it comes in at 160, so it's a decent sort of length. That cap wiggle room and stuff is just a bit of a pain there for me. Around the section is 10 millimeters, around the widest point of the barrel about 15 millimeters. It weighs 33 grams, 20 in the body, 13 in the cap. So the balance is okay. And a lot of that is because a lot of the weight is down here in that metal section. And that's why also when I write with it unposted, it feels very comfortable. It sort of disappears into your hand in that way. It's very nice. Time for a writing sample here. We have the Visconti Mythos Hades edition. This is a medium steel nib, number 6. I think you can already see it writes very, very wet. And that is also aided by the ink that I have in here, which is Diamine. Writer's blood, which I think is a perfect match for this pen. Like, great ink for this pen. Shade, sheen, darkness, saturation, blood, you know, all that. Writing sample. So, this pen is exceptionally smooth. It's exceptionally wet. And I know this is a wet ink, but even with drier inks, this still performs very, very well. It's a lovely wet writer. It's on the broader side of medium, as Visconti pens kind of tend to be. Even though this is a Schmidt nib, obviously it's made for Visconti to their specifications. If it is made by Schmidt, I said I read that somewhere and I haven't been able to verify that. But yes, it writes exceptionally wet and smooth. This is a medium, as I said. It also comes, I think, with fine and broad nibs, but the medium is quite broad. Reverse writing. It's very dry, a little scratchy, but, you know, like, makes a very decent sort of a, you know, Japanese extra fine kind of line. Flex, it's not soft. Like, you're just laying down a whole lot more ink. The tines aren't opening up, so it's not actually flexing. This is one pen where you don't need to lay down a whole lot of extra ink. It does it for you. And then quick writing. Like, there's no issue whatsoever. Flow is definitely not a problem with this pen. Neither is ink starvation. And the only thing I have noticed occasionally is if I leave this pen, it might take one character for the ink to sort of get flowing properly again. But other than that, this pen writes flawlessly. If you want a wet, broad, juicy writer, the Visconti Mythos range might be the way to go for you. Okay, talking business now. Obviously, this is an Italian pen. It's a Visconti pen, and that means it's going to come at a premium price. This one at full retail is $269 US or €220. Now, I've seen it as low as $215 US, which makes it a lot more palatable. But Visconti do just come at an extra price. For a steel nib cartridge converter, they're Italian pens, they're going to be more expensive. It's just the way these things are. I'd love to see this kind of model with a piston filling mechanism. And I'd love to see them iron out a couple of kinks in like the posting and things like that. But at this price point, this is what you can expect. This is an entry-level Visconti as well with the steel nibs, remember. So yes, there are cheaper pens from Visconti. Not by much, but they are cheaper. But you're not going to get anything that is, as interesting as this. And then, then they jump up. The Homo sapiens is skyrocketing every day. So $215 to $250, yeah, I can see the value point there. So what are my pros and cons? Well, capping and posting, I have an issue with. The capping I can get away with. It's a little clunky because it has to fit into those grooves. So you find that it's fine. But even then, there's a little bit of looseness in it. And the same thing goes with the posting. Like you put it on and then it seems to want to find just a little place for it to click onto there. And there's still wobble. I don't love that. Which is why I write with it unposted. Basically, I find that much less distressing than that rattle every time I write. I think the price is a little high, but you get what you get. It's Visconti. The other issue for some people will be the step down off the barrel. I tend to have my fingers just in front of it, so I don't necessarily feel it, but if you want to hold it slightly further back, you definitely will feel it. Because you can see off those flutes there, it flares up off there, and you get these little ridges there that are just a little bit raised. And you do notice those, definitely. And some people don't like metal sections, and this is a metal section, but it's not a slick one, and it's got that big engraving on the end there, which keeps it secure in your fingers. But what are my pros? Firstly, pros, it is a very Italian pen. Even that matte gold feels Italian for some reason. The Ponte Vecchio clip, very Italian, very Visconti. I like the fact that it is modeled off the Mirage. This is one of my favorite sort of entry-level Visconti pens. I think it's a great pen. And I think this one writes beautifully. So I'm glad that that's the model they sort of modeled the Mythos range off. And there's a range of different finishes, I should say. Different colors, some lighter, some darker. This one I had to have this particular one, with the beautiful swirls and in the material. It's just lovely. The material is a massive pro. That matte satin finish is lovely. The matte finish on the gold is beautiful. I really think it's a stunning, visually, it's just a stunning pen. And of course, the nib. Wet, very wet. Quite smooth, super consistent. As I said, occasional hard starts if you've left the pen for a few days. I'm talking the first character of a word. If I went to write Visconti, the downstroke of the V might be dry. And then from there on, it just runs back in. So no real issues there. I haven't noticed anything like massive drying out issues, just that little bit on the first character or so. That's it. I think it writes beautifully and smoothly. As I said, if you're after a pen that is super wet and has great flow, all that kind of stuff, and with a bit of character, I think this is a good option if you can, absorb the price. There's so much about this pen that I love. Not just the writing experience, but the tactile sensation of it, and just the sheer aesthetic of the pen is fantastic. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, hit the notifications button, consider becoming a member of this channel, all that good stuff. This channel couldn't happen without your support. So in the meantime, enjoy your pens, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you soon.